A peddler gave me this after I saved his caravan from bandits. He told me the scroll went back to even before Tevinter, said that elves had a rich history, even more than the rest of us. That history looked better before Elgranon and Gillenane came back and started blighting everything. We've got a culture that's lasted thousands of years. Good to remember everything we've done. Too many humans look down on us, even though elves were here first. Nice to have someone see how much our people have done.
A peddler gave me this after I saved his caravan from bandits. He was so impressed with the vitar that Qunari wear to protect our faces, and the fireworks he saw at the Ravani festival. Said he had no idea my people were such accomplished alchemists. My people went to war with the whole world and then lost control of their own military. Alchemy is all they've got left. My people. Not like I grew up under the Qun. Probably wouldn't have been a good fit given all the rules. But the Qunari have accomplished a lot. It's good to remember that with everything else going on. I guess it's better than thinking all Qunari are big lumbering brutes, but still. Well, he meant well. A peddler gave me this after I saved his caravan from bandits. He told me nobles think of ruling like a game of chess, that each move determined what mark humanity will leave on the world. If we don't stop fighting each other and focus on the real problems, it'll be the gods leaving their mark, not us. That's a big responsibility. But if we can leave the world better than we found it, it'll be worth it. We fight each other, we oppress the elves, we're at war with the Untarm. If our rulers keep treating everything like a war game, the only marks we leave on the world will be scorch marks. He had fancy silks from Orlais, statuettes from the wilds down south. I could have listened to stories all night about places he'd been. Now I'm getting to see some of those places myself. A peddler gave me this after I saved his caravan from bandits. He told me he always admired dwarven craftsmanship, especially with anything made from stone. Called us an impressive people. The surface dwarves run the lyrium trade like a crime family, and the dwarves down below won't even talk to us. Real impressive. I guess we are every now and then. Here's to fine dwarven crafts. He was trying to be nice, but well, it's better than another human asking why we can't dream or do magic.
Every time I look at this, I can hear that little girl thanking me for saving her village from Darkspawn. She said that since the Grey Wardens didn't have griffins anymore, I could have hers. If I hadn't been there, I'd never have met Varric, and never had to deal with the first warden complaining I ignored orders. I was so determined to save that village, I couldn't wait for reinforcements. But if I'd failed, I'd have left a gap for Darkspawn to pour through and kill thousands. I have to get better at seeing the big picture. Doesn't matter what the first warden thinks. There's a little girl alive today because I attacked instead of waiting for reinforcements. But if it was worth rushing in to save that village instead of waiting for reinforcements, it was worth dealing with the consequences too. This piece is all that's left of the artifact that trapped Varric and the others in Arlington Forest the day we met. Only thing left of my time with the Veil Jumpers too. Strife said he didn't want to see me again until I'd gotten some sense pounded into my head. Looking back on it, Strife was right. If I hadn't been lucky, I could have gotten a lot of people killed. I have to get better at seeing the big picture. Being a Veil Jumper means taking risks. Strife of all people should have understood that. I'll never regret saving everyone, but I probably could have been more apologetic about disobeying orders. Hope I can make it right with Strife one day.
I helped a lot of Minratha's slaves escape to freedom the night I met Varric. Then the Magisters cracked down in retaliation, and the Shadow Dragons decided I was too much trouble to keep around. I was so proud of myself. And then the Venatori backlash put a lot of shadow dragons in danger. I'm never going to apologize for freeing slaves, but I have to get better at seeing the big picture. We could have taken a stand and dared the Magisters to come after us. At least people are free because of what I did. I'm never going to apologize for freeing slaves. But I hope the Shadow Dragons got through the backlash safely. If I hadn't gotten stuck with kitchen duty for breaking curfew so often, I might have read it even more. The unarmed commander I took this from thought occupying Treviso was the same as owning it. I showed him how wrong he was. Freed a bunch of prisoners that night, including Varric. That's also the night the Crows kicked me out of Antiva for carrying out unauthorized operations. I was so proud of myself. But the Arntam cracked down hard on the Crows after what I did. I have to get better at seeing the big picture. Still can't believe they didn't back me. We're the Crows. Killing targets is what we do. It was the right thing to do, but it did bring the Arntam down hard on the Crows. Probably could have made fewer waves. Oh, Baron Van Markham. You wanted the undead to rule Navarra, but you forgot about the Mournwatch. Then, after I put you down, the Mournwatch sent me away with Varric to stop the noble families from complaining. If I'd considered, found some way to stop the Baron without destroying him and angering half of Navarra, I have to get better at seeing the big picture. The Mournwatch is supposed to protect the world from dangers outside the realms of the living. That's what I did. Even if it wasn't politically convenient. The Mournwatch protects the world from dangers outside the realms of the living, which I did. But I guess that includes dealing with the consequences. Best drink of my whole life. Fresh water from this pitcher after Varric and I got out of the trap set by that double-crossing noble. We didn't know how close he was to the throne of Ravane. Or that stopping him would get me kicked out of the Lords of Fortune until the heat dies down. If I'd been a little bit less proud of myself, the Queen might not have blamed the Lords for what happened. I have to get better at seeing the big picture. Who cares about the politics? I kept a dangerous artifact out of Venatori hands. The Lords should have had my back. I won't apologize for surviving a double cross. But if me leaving helped the Lords handle the politics, it was a small price to pay.
The tools every professional scoundrel needs when learning the trade. I spent as much time picking locks and mixing poisons as I did training with blades or a bow. It took me so long learning to get the alchemical mixtures just right. But what I learned saved my life more than once. I didn't stop Solus with fancy tools and poisons. I dropped a pillar on him. That precision, every reagent measured perfectly, the feel of the lock opening, it all just felt right. At least when I hadn't lost my privileges after setting a smoke bomb trap in the privy.
Meditation upon the use of blades. Must have read this thing cover to cover a dozen times during weapons training. The number of times I banged my head against this book trying to make the concepts work. But that training has kept me alive so far. Most fights ended with me knocking my opponent down with a kick instead of some fancy move. Working drills until I had the perfect strike ready to face anything. Everything came so easily back then. The ever-turning orb. My final training project as an apprentice. I spent months finding the precise balance of energy flows to make the enchantment permanent. Amazed this thing still works, seeing how many times I messed up the magic and broke something. But I got there eventually. I could have used more time learning to cast spells while someone swings a sword at me, and less time on floating orbs. My teachers said they'd never seen anyone weave the layers of magic so intricately, but it all just felt right. Might have gone faster if I hadn't been exhausted from too many late-night escapades. Oh well, still got it done.